In the beginning, there was only chaos, existing with itself. Then, a cosmic egg formed in chaos's belly. When it hatched, it produced the first deities into the darkness. Their names are Gaia, the earth, Tartarus, the underworld, and Eros, love. Gaia and Tartarus are considered the female deities, and once love existed, it allowed them to procreate and begin shaping the universe. Chaos also birthed Erebus, the darkness, and Nyx, the night. Erebus and his sister Nyx together produced Aether, the bright upper atmosphere, and Hemera, the day. Nyx was feared by everyone but her own brother, so she decided to create her own family of evocative and haunting forces by herself. They are Murs, or fate, Care, or doom, Thanatos, or death, Hypnos, or sleep, Onieri, or dreams, Oisis, or pain, Nemesis, or revenge, Eris, or strife, Apate, or deceit, Pilates, or sexual pleasure, Momus, or blame, and Hesperides, or daughters of the night. Her children come to man out of the darkness. Meanwhile, Gaia gave birth alone to Uranus, the starry sky, or father sky. Uranus became Gaia's husband and surrounded her on all sides. Together, Gaia and Uranus produced 3 sets of children: the Cyclops, the Hecatoncres, or the 100-handed ones, and the 12 Titans. They are Oceanus, Chios, Crius, Hyperion, Iapetus, Thea, Rhea, Themis, Mnemosyne, Phoebe, Tethys, and Cronus. Uranus, the primordial god of the sky, and the literal sky, as Gaia is considered the literal flat earth. He was imagined as a brass dome decorated with stars, and the edges of the dome, or the god, came to rest on the outermost limits of the flat earth. He is seen as resting on all fours, over Gaia, with his fingertips in the east and his toes in the far west, with an arching back. It is his arching back that forms the dome of the sky. Uranus was a cruel husband and an even more cruel father. He hated his children and did not want them to see the light of day. So he imprisoned them in the hidden places of the earth, in Gaia's womb. This angered Gaia, and she began plotting with her children against Uranus. She formed a giant sickle and tried to incite her children to attack their father. All were too afraid except for one, Cronus, the youngest son. Gaia and Cronus set up an ambush for Uranus. As Uranus was preparing to lay with Gaia, Cronus attacked, castrating Uranus with the sickle. Then he threw Uranus's severed genitals into the ocean. It is not clear what happened to Uranus afterwards. He either died, withdrew from the earth, or exiled himself to Italy. As he departed, he promised Cronus and the Titans they would be punished. From Uranus's blood, which was spilt on the earth due to his castration, came the giants, the ash tree nymphs, and the Erinyes. The Erinyes are also known as the Furies. They pursue wrongdoers until death relentlessly, often driving them to suicide. When Uranus's genitals fell into the ocean, it produced sea foam. From this sea foam emerged Aphrodite, goddess of beauty. Cronus then became the next ruler. He too imprisoned the Cyclops and the Hecatoncres in Tartarus, and he set the dragoness Campe to guard over them. Cronus then married his sister Rhea, and they had 6 children together. Cronus ruled for many ages, and during this time the Titans had many offspring. Before his demise, Uranus and Gaia had both prophesied that Cronus would be overthrown by one of his children. The children of Cronus and Rhea are Hestia, goddess of the hearth and domestic life; Demeter, goddess of agriculture, fertility, sacred law, and the harvest; Hera, goddess of marriage and birth; Hades, god of the dead and future king of the underworld; Poseidon, future god of the sea, earthquakes, and horses; Zeus, future sky god and the future father of gods and men. On the advice of Gaia, when it was time to give birth to her 6th child, Rhea hid herself away and gave birth on Crete. She left the newborn child there to be raised by the nymphs and the she-goat, Amalthea, on the island. To conceal this, she wrapped a stone in swaddling clothes and passed it off as the baby Zeus. When she presented the stone baby to Cronus, he was completely unaware and swallowed the whole bundle without a second thought. In the care of the nymphs and Amalthea, Zeus quickly grew to be a handsome young man under the shadow of Mount Ida on the island of Crete. When the time came, Zeus went to his future wife and sister, Metis, to ask how he should defeat his father, Cronus. She answered with a drink made to look, smell, and taste like Cronus's favorite wine. When he drank this drink, Kronos would be thrown into a fit of throwing up for a long period of time. Zeus then disguised himself as one of Kronos' cupbearers and eventually was able to slip the drink Metis gave him to Kronos. It worked, and Kronos started vomiting and expelled all of Zeus's siblings and the stone. The stone, called Omphalos, or the navel, was later set up at and was the founding of the Delphic Oracle, which was considered to be at the center of the earth. It also became a powerful religious symbol. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Zeus's siblings all recognized Zeus as their leader. However, Kronos was still in command as he had yet to be defeated. He was now too old to protect himself from the attacks of his children, so he enlisted the help of the Titans, who also feared the new generation of gods. This became a decade-long war between the Titans and the Olympians. It was called the Titanomachy. Atlas became the Titans' leader and led the army on to many victories. At one point, it seemed Zeus would be defeated. On the advice of Gaia, Zeus freed the Cyclops and Hecatoncres from Tartarus. In their gratitude, the Cyclops provided Zeus with his signature thunderbolt, a trident for Poseidon, and a helmet of invisibility for Hades. This shifted the balance of power to Zeus's favor. Zeus's final victory came not from brute force, but from a cunning trick. The idea is sometimes credited to Prometheus, who had deserted from the Titan army. The Hecatoncres, armed with large boulders, set an ambush for the Titans. At the specified time, Zeus withdrew his forces, which drew the Titans into the Hecatoncres' trap. When they were surrounded, the hundred-handed ones hurled large boulders down on top of the Titan army with such a fury that the Titans believed the mountains were coming down upon them. The Titans withdrew, and Zeus finally considered himself the king of the universe. Zeus exiled the Titans who fought against him to Tartarus. However, he made an exception with Atlas, as Atlas was the leader of the Titan force. Atlas was punished by having to hold the universe on his shoulders for all of eternity. Zeus's status was challenged only on a few occasions after the Titanomachy. Once by the giants, who stacked boulder upon boulder to try and reach the top of Mount Olympus, but were unsuccessful. Gaia, too, was again outraged by the imprisonment of her children in Tartarus, so she pushed forth one last child of her own, the monster Typhus. Typhus was so fearsome that most of the gods fled upon seeing him. However, Zeus stood his ground and defeated him by using the power of his lightning bolt. Typhus was then buried under Mount Etna in Italy. It is said you can still hear him rumbling and grumbling and growling under the volcano, and that sometime in the distant future he will return to fight again. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed or find value in our content, please take a moment to like and subscribe.